Hi, and welcome to the Power of Connection and Biz Show. I'm Kimberly Lane, Executive Leadership Coach, Engagement and Connection Team Builder, bestselling author, and your host. Today's guest comes to us from Calgary, where she's an entrepreneur, working mom, and a first-time grandmother. She knows firsthand that the blend between work and life can be very difficult. As a result, she loves to coach and guide female business owners as they navigate their personal leadership journey, grounded in their own values and purpose. She leads with a deep focus on people strategy, team engagement, and leadership development, all to help her clients drive their business goals while creating an inspiring culture. As founder of High Voltage Leadership, her powerful coaching style leverages her extensive background of coaching senior leaders and executives, empowering these same leaders to achieve their highest leadership potential, and her 15 years of strategic talent management to ensure culture and people are aligned to achieve the often missed business goals, right? When amazing teams are connected, she says, by purpose, programs, and processes that add value, they create amazing results. Please welcome our guest, founder of High Voltage Leadership and certified coach, Lindsay White. Lindsay, so happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm honored to be a guest.
Great. So we're going to just get into what I typically talk about, the power of connection in biz on this show. And your focus is as well on leadership coaching and people strategy. So I'd like to kind of first understand, why did you kind of niche yourself into the female-led small business? Why did you pick up that particular niche?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a long history of coaching leaders and I love doing that. And what I've uncovered in my own entrepreneurial journey is that there really aren't as many women that are coaching other entrepreneurs. And it is a group of people that I think really desire to be a great leader, build a really great team, have that inspiring culture, create connection, but often they don't know how to do that. And they don't know what it means to be a great leader. So that's why I really thought this is a group of women that I really want to work with, because I think I can really add value for them.
I think you can. I know you do. So are there any specific challenges that fall predominantly on, female-led small businesses versus, say, large companies or, male executives? Not to, not really make this a gender issue, but just, I can guess at what some of those are, but I just thought for maybe if you could kind of just relay what some of those challenges might be, or those things that we struggle with from a female entrepreneurial.
Yeah. So like all women in business, but I think more acutely when you are the business, right? When the business is you, I think many of these women struggle from this myth that they have to have the perfect balance, right? So I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't think that's achievable, or if it is, I think it's a fleeting moment. And then the school calls because your kid's thrown up. Right. Or your dog's pooped on the floor, or, you ran a red light and got a speeding ticket. So I believe in work-life blend. And that is particularly challenging for female entrepreneurs to wrap their head around and to find the right blend for themselves, because of the multitude of hats that they wear, but also because they are the business. They are the beating heart and soul of their business. They are the root of the values and the purpose and the vision. And so the commitment level is really significant. And they put their heart and souls in. I mean, I say I mean me, right? Like we put our heart and souls into these businesses. And so it is hard to separate. And so that in particular, it wants me, that's why I want to work with them, but it's also why I feel that it's so crucial.
No, I like it's true. It's, I don't think work and your personal life in today's world can really be mutually exclusive. They do blend together. You're running and doing, especially working from home, you're running and putting the laundry in, or packing the kids' lunch as you're trying to take a phone call or think about the strategy for your next call, whatever it is, So it's, I like your idea of blend. It's true. They're not here and here, right? You also made me think of something. So I'll be really curious to your thoughts on this, and because I know we as women, especially when you're an entrepreneur or type A personality, right? You're pretty driven. You've got this passion,
Mhm.
which is on fire, and you want to invest your energy into it. So when I was an executive in corporate America, I worked with a lot of men. I was one of the few female in my position. And I remember that Mondays were difficult because you had to go from my feminine side
Yeah.
to my more masculine side, if you will. And so by the middle of the week, it got easier. But to go back to my feminine side during the work week was just difficult. I just was better just to kind of stay in that mode. And I don't necessarily like looking back, having to have been in that mode so much. And now I'm
Yeah.
trying to have more,
Yeah.
male female balance. How do you help your clients, deal with that issue, and even yourself? I mean, we all have to deal with it, being successful women.
Totally. So the what I like to do with my clients is I like to focus not on the masculine and feminine, but on the values, right? What are the crucial pieces of who you are? And so many of us, we may have done that work, right? Like HR came in with a list of values, we circled them, blah, blah, blah. But it's so much more than that, right? It's understanding not only what does that value mean, but also what is the behavior that brings that value to life. And in that, we can start to understand who we are as a person, but also who we are as a leader. So we can then start to create our own leadership brand and style. And you're right, sometimes it's going to be a little bit on the masculine side. What is success? What does that success value look like? Well, sometimes it does mean I have that role or I earn that money, but it also means that I have beautiful relationships with my children and my partner, right? So even in that value, we can feel the ideas behind that masculine and feminine energy, and we can bring it together in a way that's cohesive. It is truly deeply who we are, and it enables us to then operate in all of the aspects of our world in a way that is completely authentic, grounded in the most important pieces of ourself, and also enables us to be really truly confident, right? And that in itself, I think, is what a lot of my female entrepreneurs miss, is confidence, right?
No, and I think the more we allow and we encourage women to stand in who they are and to truly be free to represent themselves as they truly want to be
Yeah,
represented without any
yeah,
filters or judgment or expectations, and allowing her voice and how she wants to run her business and totally be
yeah,
expressive of her. I think that's extremely powerful
yeah.
because it's, again, it doesn't have to be male or
Mhm.
female energies. It's really just who you are and what do you stand for, and letting yourself shine and be present, and whether that be in the relationships with your kids, husband. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful answer,
Yeah.
Lindsay. I really like that. Any other thoughts around that?
Yeah, I just think that we don't pause often enough to really reconnect, whether we've done that work in the past. And, working in a corporate environment, we probably all had exposure to that. Many of the entrepreneurs that I've worked with have been so far removed from that for so many years,
Mhm.
or they really truly are like they have that entrepreneurial spirit. They've never worked in a corporate environment. So some
Lucky
of them
them.
have
Yeah.
never examined themselves in this way.
Hmm.
And belonging is so important. That's a topic we hear about a lot. But if we don't belong to ourselves first, then we have no way to belong in our business, belong in our families, and really help create that belonging for others, right?
Yeah, when I coach individuals, since my word's connection, I tell them your most important connection is the connection you have with yourself, because that
Totally.
is that stems for the connection you have with all others. And if it's not a healthy, loving, kind one that you have with yourself, how can you expect to be loving and kind and less judgment to others, right? So
Totally.
it all begins with you too. So I love that. Now, how else are you helping women, improve their confidence level? Because I know traditionally women, we just, because of the expectations we feel society puts on ourselves and what we do for on ourselves as well alone. What are some things, guidance you give from a confidence building perspective?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So I think and I talked just a moment ago about designing your leadership brand. So one of the things that I love to do with my private coaching clients, but I also, it's one of my key talks, is around designing that leadership brand, like actually creating, just like Nike has a brand or Coke has a brand, creating a brand for yourself in terms of how you lead. And that starts from within. So really, to your point, how do you lead yourself? And then uncovering, how do you lead from the front? How do you need to be leading from the back? Like, when do you need to take a back seat? How are you leading with others? And how do you lead more globally? And I think when we can really understand and articulate what is our leadership brand, what is our stand in terms of leadership, what is our purpose in terms of being a leader, it enables us to show up in a more confident way. It enables us to connect with other leaders and co-lead in a way that's really, truly collaborative, right?
Right.
Like, that's what we all really long to do. And the truth is we don't get it right sometimes.
Nope.
And that's like co-leading with people in our own business, with our peers, with our colleagues, with all of those things. So that in itself, I find, really builds a lot of confidence for my more experienced entrepreneurs, but also for the young women that I interact with, that they don't have a clear vision of who they are as a leader and how they show up. That makes a big difference in how they go forward and move around in the world.
Yeah. And I think you're probably coaching them as they go through and take baby steps and being authentic in a situation and truly speaking up for what they believe in, or standing for what they believe in, or dressing the way they want to do, whatever it is. And the more they do that, the more they get acceptance, inclusivity, comments, and just, wow, I really like your style today, or whatever it is. You played a thoughtful comment in that meeting today. When we get more positive feedback from others, it helps to build that confidence, and then for us to continue to move forward in our authenticity. And that really, I like that, is how you develop your personal leadership brand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are you feeling like there's anything because of the pandemic and what we've been encountering in the last 18 to 20 months? What are some of the issues your clients are facing now with what they're dealing with? Probably a lot more work-life blend to deal with. I don't know. What are some of the challenges you're seeing?
Yeah, at 100%. The word that I hear over and over again with this group of people in particular is burnout. These women they're exhausted. And I'm not talking about, I need a weekend on the beach. I'm talking at the soul deep level of exhaustion. And again, I'm talking about myself here too, right? But these incredible women have spent the last 20 months really deeply concerned about the financial health of their business, the mental health and wellness of their teams, and of course, the emotional health of their families and their loved ones. And the truth is, in all of that, their capacity to care, if you will, has been tested, and their resiliency is seriously depleted. They're struggling to bounce back. And particularly right now, what I'm hearing, especially as economy is opening, things are moving, things are growing. They want to grow their businesses. And they're already exhausted. And so really trying to rebuild that resilience, get that energy level back, and really reconnect to that purpose has been crucial just in the last couple months here. It really.
So what are you advising in that burnout situation, since they probably can't go spend 6 months on the beach going placid and just, numb. And it's, sometimes just continuing to push is not the answer, right? So
no, it's true. A lot of, I talk with my clients about redlining. So just like in your engine, right? If you operate constantly at the red line, it's actually hard. For many of these women, you're nodding, so you know this, it's hard to actually back it off. And so this isn't go have a bubble bath or go for a walk, right? Like if it was only that easy,
right?
If it was only that easy. So really what I try and help these women do is understand how they can slowly start to unravel just a little bit at a time, right? Because we're at a place right now where for many of them, they feel like they can't take their foot off the gas. So, right, we have to do this in steps and stages. We have to be very careful about how we dance with that red line. And we've got to find the moments and the things, and for each of them, it's individual,
Right.
that build that resilience, that build that bounce back in, right? Because that's what that's all about. So it's just about finding those things, those moments. And for some of them, yes, it's a weekend in the mountains at a beautiful spa. And just actually embracing that feeling. What does it feel like? Right? Just understanding what that is. For some of them, it's about going to their kid's soccer game and leaving their phone in the truck.
Yeah.
Right. So it really has to be on a spectrum. But it's really key to understand what are those things and just what is that feeling? Like, what have I been missing? Right? Because it's been so long.
I try to like to encourage my clients too, when you're on that red line or on that gas pedal for so long, and you get to a point where you're just beating your head up against the wall and you just feel like you're putting so much effort in and not getting the return back. And so, maybe that's a sign that you're supposed to have a little bit more work-life blend. Maybe you're supposed to surrender to what's going on instead of resisting it and going to the soccer game without feeling guilty about it. And I think having your intentions out there, I'm really a big believer of setting your intention and doing what you can in your power to help it make it happen, but then also taking a step back and surrendering and let the universe help you manifest that too. Because, given other than, having a deadline as far as you need a financial income in order to pay your bills or your mortgage outside of that fact. But if you're really saying, I need 5 clients by the end of the month, when reality is you'd be okay if you only had 3 and let the other 2 just evolve as it is. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think our expectations are too high, and sometimes we just need to surrender to the flow. And I think being conscious of that work-life blend you're speaking of, and going where you feel your time needs to be spent that day. And maybe it is at the soccer game, right?
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I focus on a lot with my clients, and I'm sure you do too, is this value of success. And I often say that money is just a metric. And it's one of about a gajillion. I mean, if there's 7 billion people on this planet, there's 7 billion different ways to measure success. So just a second here. Yes, the money is important. It's important to me too. Like, don't get me wrong. We all want to make money. But how else? Like, what else is success for you? Right. And really diving in to defining that value in a way that for many, they really haven't thought of before, or they haven't thought of in a while, especially in 20 months. And then, like with one of my clients, we really had to talk about how is her redlining showing up for her team? Because the truth is, she was driving her team right into the ground. And a big value for her is that deep care, right? And so we really had to take a really deep dive on that value and how that was showing up for the people that reported and worked for her. And she recognized, wow, like not only am I compromising that value for myself and maybe even my husband, because I'm sure not caring about him very much lately, but how am I compromising that value for my team because they're not feeling very cared for?
Yeah.
Right. So really redefining some of those important things in a brand new way, because we're in a whole new world here, right? All the bets are off. So
yeah, it's kind of like, that's a great point, because I was coaching one woman and she's like, no, I feel like I'm supposed to be speaking all over the country and just traveling. And, that's my measure of success. And I thought, when we first started coaching, you explained to me what you wanted your lifestyle to look like when you wanted to be speaking. And traveling around the world, being away from your family constantly and packing and unpacking, repacking was not part of that description. So is that your idea of success, or is that somebody else's idea of success, right? So we all have a certain expectation that we feel others put on us and define for success. But at the end of the day, you feel your way into the way you want your life to feel and be, from a work, from a family, from a relationship, from your kids, from your husband, etc. So I'm sure that husband of hers is thankful that she was talking to you and their relationship's a little bit better.
She tells me just about every session how he has witnessed the transformation. But Kimberly, I think you make a beautiful point. I mean, that really is the true value of working with a coach who says to you, just a second, that is not what you told me last week, a month ago, when we first started coaching a year ago. And I am actually going to hold you here for just a moment. And I'm going to get you to articulate to me exactly what's shifted, because that's different.
Right.
And the truth is, there's not many people in our life that can hold our feet to the fire quite like our coach can. Right. So
And
I
hold
love
that mirror up right back at you, right? Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Who is this right here? Who is this person? Yeah, this is different, right?
yes.
Yeah, I love it.
I think it's really a good buddy, but not only just a good buddy, but a good accountability partner. I can't talk today. That really is trying to help you be your best version of you, right? And drop all those fronts we put up and the excuses we make. And there's no excuses with us, right? It's kind of like, this is what you told me you wanted to do, so we're working on it, and then we're going to get raw, right? So in a good way, in a very good way, right?
Totally.
So we are approaching near the end of our time together, Lindsay, and I want to take some time to make sure we talk about your inner circle that I believe is launching the beginning of November, if I'm not mistaken. Would you kind of just give us a little more insight into that?
Yeah. So it's we're starting, our first session will be on November 1st, but we have room for some additional people. And what the inner circle really came from conversations that I had this spring and summer, where I heard from female entrepreneurs, peers, colleagues, clients, that they were feeling incredibly isolated, very, very alone in their roles as business owners and CEOs, that they were really craving connection and community with other female entrepreneurs, and in a meaningful way that would help them grow their business, but also help them grow personally. And so I have designed this hybrid mastermind. So some of the work we do will be topical. So we're going to talk about burnout. What does it look like? What do we do about it? How do we manage it? But it also has space for everyone to bring those things that are keeping them up at night, right? That stuff that wakes you up at 3 a.m. Let's do a hot seat. Let's throw it on the table. Let's, call on the collective wisdom of, decades of business experience in the group. And let's come up with some new and innovative ways to look at that situation, new perspectives, maybe some creative new solutions so you can solve that problem and do it faster, right? Because that's the value of having an incredible group. So we get started here shortly. We're going to meet from November until March bi-weekly. And there's some other bonuses involved in the program as well. One of them is with my friends at Focus Bubbles. So virtual co-networking to keep you accountable. So when you say you're going to do it, you're going to go to a focus bubble and get it done. So it's a really cool program, and would love to have someone reach out if that's something that they are really craving.
Perfect. I will definitely have your contact information, Lindsay, in the show notes, along with your website and other links for your inner circle. I think it's a beautiful idea. I think a lot of times too, we think we're the only one with a particular challenge, but or keeping them up at night. It's not the kid wailing at 3 a.m, right?
Right.
So, but I think it's important to women to support each other, especially entrepreneurs, because it can get lonely out there. And I think what a great idea. So Lindsay, thank you so much for being on the show today. I also would like to thank our wonderful listeners. Such a joy to see your reviews. And thank you for subscribing to the Power of Connection on Biz on YouTube. I would also, again, Lindsay, we'll have your contact information in the show notes and ways that anybody can sign up for your upcoming program, The Inner Circle, next week. Until next time, remember, connections change everything. Bye for now.